Hi, I'm Jim Schramm. Today we're going to be sharing lessons from the vine. It's springtime here, and there's a whole lot of work to be done in the vineyard. So this is what the vine is supposed to look like. This is what me, the master of the vineyard, wants for these grapes to be doing. They don't want to do it, but this is what my intention is for planting these. I planted these as little sprigs. They came up and they grow up 3 feet. There's an arm on the right that's 3 feet and an arm on the left that's 3 feet. That's all the wood I want to grow. I don't want the strength of the vine going into wood. So that's why we only have 3 feet here and 3 feet there. There may be as many as 12 spurs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, there's 13. But that's good. That's good. Now on those spurs, I allow 2 buds to come forth. 1 and 2. They are only allowed to go upward in the air. And they're supposed to stay behind that wire. And there's a reason for that. Now, if I have 2 buds, each bud has 2 clusters of grapes. See those little things? And I like that. So this one only has 1 cluster. That's not typical. Now, the reason we do that is so that it has just enough grapes on it, just enough fruit, so that the plant has the strength to make them actually mature. So 1, 2 times 10, and so that would be 4 per spur, 4 clusters, and that's going to make 40 bunches of grapes. This plant is powerful, it's strong, it can produce that much of grapes with enough strength to actually mature it, to get the oils mature, to get the seeds to ripen and everything inside of the grape to become magical, which is what they can do. But you know, these grapes do not want to do that. They have a better idea of what to do than, and which I'll show you in a minute, than what I want. Now, the reason I want this is because I don't have any they don't cooperate. I don't have any vines sticking out in my face so that I can't see what I'm doing. And when it comes time to harvest, then then I can reach the grapes. They're right there in front of me, and I don't have any fight to pick it and to harvest my crop. Now they grow vertically, and so that they don't want to stay behind the wire though. And then they grow up like this. I can reach in and I can take a look and see everything that's going on in front of me. And then they grow over the top and they cascade over way out here like this, just so I can work in the shade. So what these want to do, and I'll show you, let's see if we can get any suckers here. Here's a sucker. And there's another sucker. And there's another sucker. Now what a sucker is what these are. Everything essentially is a sucker, but they abide in the vine. This is the vine. I am the vine. You are the branches. So what this little plant wants to do is reproduce itself and create another branch, each one having 2 clusters of grapes. So instead of just having 40 clusters, if I let one of these guys get away with it, there's 2 more clusters, and there's 2 more clusters, and there's 2 more clusters, and there's 2 more and 2 more. So let's say we have 2 times 8, we got 16 clusters on every one of these. I'm just telling you, while you think you can produce that much fruit in life, you can't. And so when I'm looking at 240, because if I let them go and if I don't bust those little um, suckers, there isn't enough strength in the vine to actually ripen the fruit. So left to their own devices, things are going to get really not very tasty in the vineyard. Okay, come with me to the other side. I'd like to introduce you to our workers. This is Janine, and this is Granny Annie. They're my loyal compadres in the vineyard here. So they've got the vision, they understand what needs to be done, and they're going through and they're producing trimmed vines. And I want you to look at this too. Well, no, not yet. Well, I've shown you what the grapevine is supposed to look like with my original intention. Remember, I'm the Lord of the vineyard in type. But these vines, they don't want to do that. Now, 2 weeks ago, I went all through this and I produced what you saw on the other side, which are the vines that are conformed to my image. They're the ones that I want. So, but the vine, they have no interest in that. The natural man receives not the things of the Spirit of God. So what he wants to do is grow all kinds of branches like this that don't have anything of my intention involved in it. They'll grow from the bottom, growing whole new vines. They'll grow from the side where they don't belong, like here. They want to grow completely new vines. What I'm after, see that little guy back there sneaking around? And these, they grow out here right in my face. So I can't work. So those that don't conform to the vision that the Lord of the Vineyard has in mind have to be broken off so that the vision, and we start with anything that's going to grow down or in my face or run away from me or be weak or grow in a way that is going to tangle up the rest of the vines. Everything is very disciplined. Everything is very vertical in my plan, in my game plan. So let's read about it. And I'm going to use the King James because basing it on the Textus Receptus, which I really like, it does a very good job in John chapter 15 of giving the language of what is going on here. This is the springtime. It's a very, very busy time in the vineyard. You have to get in there and conform the grapevine to the image that you have in mind. Otherwise, you won't even be able to get near it, and it'll have lots of little tiny fruit. So here's what Jesus says about it. He says, I'm the true vine. This is the vine. And my Father is the husbandman. So my associates here and myself are the husbandman representatives. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he takes away. So any branch that doesn't have little baby grapes on it, it's going to be cut off and taken out. And every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it. Now that's very good according to the Greek. That it may bring forth more fruit. Now I explained it to you that if I find a fruitful branch that I like this one, and it's bearing fruit, I'm going to purge it. I'm going to pull those suckers off so that this branch may be made more fruitful. Less is more in the vineyard. Okay. Now you are clean through the word which I have spoken to you. Now when Granny Annie is done, that vine is going to be clean. Do you have a vine there that's been conformed, Ann? Can you show us what's going on?
Yeah.
So show us what you're looking for and what you're doing.
So this one, well, all of this that's on the ground was coming out of this branch here, and we just want to have two left so that the energy from the vine can go into production here in these grapes. You can see the little clusters of grapes. So about 3 times as much stuff as remains has already been cut off and is laying on the ground. It'll just wither up and be good to throw in the fire.
Now you are clean through the word which I have spoken to you. Abide in me. When we started this video, one of those branches failed to abide. It just fell right off the minute I touched it. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit from itself. So those branches, because they're no longer abiding, there's no hope of fruit in them. They can't bear any fruit by themselves. Except it abide in the vine, no more can you, except you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He that abides in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me, you can do nothing. Well, without him, I can do a whole lot of stuff. Just like we're seeing in this particular vine over here that I started pruning back. If a man abide not in me, he's cast forth as a branch, as Granny Annie showed us, and is withered. And men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. If you abide in me, and my words abide in you, you will ask what you will, and it shall be done for you. Herein is my Father glorified, that you bear much fruit. So shall you be my disciples. And disciple comes from discipline. So they're being disciplined. Now I'm going to come over here where it's really bad, and I'm going to start disciplining wherever that was. Oh yeah, I was here. Okay, so it's awful tangled. This one's growing down, that's weak. It breaks off really easy. So the longer it gets, the more likely it is to break off. So we're wasting our time attempting to cultivate that particular branch. Again, I want 2. So here's one branch, and here's the second branch. Now the problem with these branches is that they grow suckers. And as I explained, each sucker thinks it's a new branch. But here's the clue. Is this branch, if this is allowed to grow and form a whole new branch, this branch does not abide in the vine. It abides in the branch. So there's some of these that are much more developed as the suckers. So suckers, you know, this is what happens when believers are discipled by somebody and they gain their life through that individual. And they gain their sustenance and they gain their sense of worth through a disciple. And so, but they're not actually attached. So this guy could grow all the way up and over the top. And it'll look like it's one of the branches. But it is a branch, but it's a branch of another branch. So it doesn't have the direct relationship. This is a warning. This is a warning to the believer that nothing but an individual relationship and accruing the sap that comes only from the vine itself. The closer to the vine, the sweeter the fruit. The further it goes up, the further the grapes are away from the vine, the less they're ripe, the less they're mature, the less they're going to be making good wine. So that's my little lesson from the vine.
So when I first started working the vineyard, I was so concentrated and focused on the branches and getting the suckers off at the top of the vine, like this one right here, that I didn't realize I had to get, not only take the leaves off, but get to the root, where the leaves down here, you gotta really dig them out, are taking the water supply, the branches down here, from the vine, and the branches that are up here, and what it does is it steals the water and the energy by producing a branch that's not going to bear, that may bear fruit, but not, it's going to take away from the fruit of the branches here. In my own life, I just started doing this 2 weeks ago. I'm a mother, and I was going to return to full-time work, but my youngest son needs me at home right now, and I've been able to work this vineyard in the mornings and help teach him in the afternoons. And I was conflicted because before I was working 2 jobs and I was providing for my children, but I didn't get to the root of issue, is that my children also need me emotionally and spiritually and physically to be present with them. And Jesus is my root. He's the root of David. He's the root of the vine, and we need to abide in him. And once I was able to pray through that all, I got direction from the root. I got direction from my Lord on how to proceed.
Well, I'd like to add a little something there too, because what those little sprouts are doing is really treason to the vine, because they're taking the strength away from the vine and going in a different direction entirely. So it's a bigger deal than we would have imagined. Just, oh yeah, there's something that's growing down low. But it's really one of the worst faults that vine can do. So the lesson of the whole thing is that, yeah, we can do a lot of things. We can produce a lot of fruit. We can do millions of projects and things that seem necessary and good. But what we're learning is that if it doesn't come from the vine, if the vine isn't encouraging it, if it isn't going in the direction of the master of the vineyard, we are actually taking away the strength of the vine on things that cannot produce fruit. And so it's typical. This is what the Lord does, because he's always cutting us back and saying, no, I want you to concentrate here. But you're not going to know that unless you abide in the vine. We're going to be distracted in 1,000 different directions, things that are great ideas according to us. But the challenge is, what is the intent of the master of the vineyard? And that is what we have to give our strength to. And to do that, we have to be willing to listen and drop the things that he's trying to break off of our efforts. And if we'll do that, we will produce much fruit, and he will be greatly glorified. Good day. Thanks for spending time with me here in the vineyard.